Welcome, everybody. My name is Cathi Nelson. I'm the CEO and founder of the Photo Managers. We're thrilled to have you here. Every month, I interview different members, professional photo organizers. I've been doing this for many years now, from all over the world in all different backgrounds. It's a fascinating organization of people who bring lots of different skills to the table, backgrounds that got them interested in helping families and businesses manage, organize, curate, scan, all the things that go into helping people share their family stories and legacies. And so we realized, though, we have more and more members joining is what we call like a family affair, whether it's partnerships or in all in the family. And so we thought today it would be fun to bring you two different pairs. We have Madisyn and Kristen Goodman, who are going to be joining us, a mother-daughter team. And then we have Brett and Paige, and I'll let you all say your last name so I don't say it incorrectly.
Torgrimson.
Torgrimson, joining us as well. So I always ask the same questions to make it really easy so you know what to expect. And so I'm going to do the same thing, but there's plenty of time for Q&A here. So go ahead and drop your questions in the chat and we'll make sure to give you plenty of time. So Madisyn and Kristen. So Madisyn is Kristen's daughter, and she is our youngest certified photo organizer. She was the day before she turned 20, right? Madisyn, I certified her at 19. So she got that special designation. But Kristen and Madisyn, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business and what got you interested in this whole family business of managing people's photos?
Sure. Well, thanks so much for asking us to be on today, Cathi. We love what we do here, and I'm excited to have Madisyn join my team. So we're located in beautiful Naples, Florida. Like Cathi mentioned, we help a lot of people prepare for hurricanes, but a lot of people are moving here to Florida. So we really have a lot of people from all over the place coming here. So how I started, my husband, we have a print shop and gallery, Dennis Goodman Photography and Printing in Naples. And he's been doing that for about 15 years or so. And originally I started selling Creative Memories scrapbooking supplies, where Cathi was in that at some point. And people just started asking me, could I make photo books for them? Can I do this and that for them? And I saw what Cathi was doing and was just so interested in that, and just jumped right on. And I think I became certified in 2012. But prior to that, my grandma was somebody that always shared pictures and stories with our family. I'm from Indiana originally, and traditions are just important to us. And just that box of pictures with all the information going way back. She was born in 1912 and just shared so much good stuff and was with us until she was almost 99, still telling stories. So I feel like that I inherited a little gene from her. And I think some of us that are real sentimental and love telling about our families and learning more about our families. And I always say, leave a legacy, not a mess. I think that's really why I enjoy what I do. Madisyn also has her tech degree. She graduated from high school and college all at the same time a couple years ago. And I'll let her tell a little bit about why she likes working in our family business.
I've always been helping my mom with her scrapbook events since I was about 7. So I've grown up in the business, and then I just decided, since I did multimedia and had the skills from Photoshop, that I could just be an asset to my family's business as well.
So she's
I know
really,
your dad is the photographer. He's quite a beautiful photographer, right? His studio is pretty stunning when we see that. Did you ever think about, do you also take photos as well, Madisyn, or is it more of the back end with like helping your mom?
I like being more of the back end instead of being like in the front and center.
yeah. She's a little shy sometimes, but she's really getting herself out there. She's not my silent partner, as we like to joke. She does have some amazing skills that, technology changes minutely. So it's great to have a younger person in here to help us too. So
Yeah.
She does a lot of our photo restoration work and things like that, but we've been able to add to our business, because of her skills. So that's just awesome.
Yeah, I love that part, Madisyn. You want to talk a little bit about, because obviously there's pretty diverse generations, and the photo managers still, majority of members are probably 35 plus, maybe. A lot of second act careers, a lot of are back to work kind of careers after family, or but you're kind of in that newer stage, and we have more and more members in their 20s joining. What is it that draws you to this business as well, besides helping your family and their business? And what's your take on the future?
I'm really into all of my family's past and history, just because we're all so close together. And I just really like learning about that aspect. But I also like adding a new view into that we get the pictures in big messes and bins from our family, and we want them all on what we're used to, like the computers and the phones. So we want them on our phones instead of looking at them physically, because you can't really do much with that.
Right. So you're that digital native, right? You grew up with a phone in your hand, not
Yeah.
not a photo
Yeah,
album in your
right.
hand,
Yeah.
right? So what advice would you give to people thinking about adding a family member to their business though? Because that probably can have its complications at times, right?
Wow. Well, for me, like she mentioned, when I would do different events and stuff, she's just always been my little helper. But she just dove right in, and I love that she likes like what she just said. Like she enjoys learning about our family. We lost my dad and her papa last summer, and it was just so comforting, I think, for her and I to be working on those projects that we needed for a service, and just connecting our family together that way. But I think I needed somebody to help me start scanning because my business started growing a little bit more. And it's great to be able to reach out to somebody who gets it, so she knew like what we did. A lot of times Dennis's clients become my clients or the other way around when people come in our gallery. And it was just, I think it just felt natural to have her help a little bit because she just gets what we do, and she's learning every day, just like I think we all are learning different things every day. And I think that's part of our business model too. It's just, you can teach somebody this, and it's important to teach somebody this so it can continue.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. So how do you guys find your clients and what's your take on the future? Both of you, I think, but I guess probably Kristen, you probably bring in the clients and
Yeah. Well, I used to do a lot of networking, but I really feel like it's just more referral. I've never really paid for any advertising or anything. And like having a storefront, like I mentioned, people come in all the time, and usually it's somebody to see what Dennis has. He sells his wildlife and nature photography for people's homes. So they may be over to his computer, which is across from me, but then the wife's looking at me like, what is she doing over there? I usually have my earbuds in and scanning away or making a photo book on my screen. And so then the question is, well, what are you doing? So it's just a natural progression. And like I mentioned, a lot of people are moving to Florida, or this is their second home. So we've met people that, it's seasonal here a little bit sometimes. I think less than it used to be. So people will even go home this summer and get things together to bring back for me next season, to start or find somebody in their area. I've referred several people that's within our group, which is great within the photo manager. So it's awesome to have so many other resources around the country and world to refer to. And then Madisyn, what do you think? She's thinking like, how would you reach out to people your age, you think, or other people?
Social media, getting into the social media and the website searching, because we're on devices most of the time.
Yeah, using social media, right? That makes
Yeah.
sense. One thing I think that's really important for people that are listening that aren't photo managers who haven't done this for a living, maybe are thinking about it or just curious, what is it because it's one thing to say that we organize photos and things, or we tell, but what's a reaction you get from a client when you return their collection back to them? What's the aha moment I think that happens that really drives this business so well?
I think sometimes it's just not that you want them to cry, but it's just the joy that we have in our hearts too when we do something great for somebody. And we were talking before we started the call about the word legacy, and so many people are trying to leave that legacy. And I've worked with not lots, but several lately, terminal patients. And so I just worked with this amazing woman that was in her 70s that she found me last fall, two grown sons and her husband, and she had terminal brain cancer. And I met her only one time in person, the first time, just to go over her photo project. And she just wanted a photo album. And she had just started hospice care. So the day that I met her, she was just kind of quick, like show me what she had. But I was able to tell her story through what her pictures in order, the two sons, the age. And long story short, made the photo book. I always let people approve the photo book. So I call her. She answers the phone and passes it to her husband because she's actually in hospice. She'd had an issue. And she was more concerned with paying me versus me getting the approval. And I'm like, I'm not worried about that. And they just said, go ahead and order it. So I end up ordering 3 photo books, 2 for the sons, 1 for her and her husband. She ends up going home. and I go to get to see her to deliver the books. So
Wow.
she was just overjoyed looking because, again, she did not approve it. I did it in the order that we chatted just that one day. And I still have the text that she wrote back and forth to me, how she was so grateful that I was able to tell her story. She still didn't understand how I just did it without hardly any direction, but the joy that she gave me and the, was the same joy back to her. And she just passed away March 28th. So
Wow.
she was a wonderful client. She was just so fun and said, Kristen, we could have really been good friends. I wish I would have met you earlier. And so I try not to use that word client all the time, because truly what we do is such a sentimental and personal thing that really our clients become our friends. And I still am working with several client friends, or when Madisyn had the baby, people are coming to our baby shower, giving us gifts. And, so I feel like sometimes it's just the gift that keeps giving, to what we do.
Yeah, that's amazing. That I love that story. I mean, that's, and I think so many members, whenever we do this, I've added that piece in lately, because I think it's really important, again, to help people understand that the photo organizing and the photo management, or all the different terms that we use, are really a means to an end, right? The end goal really is to help people tell their stories, or share their legacy, or feel like they have their arms around, because our photos tell the stories of our lives. Our videos, it's not just photos, it's videos, it's keepsake items, it's your prom dress, or the outfit you brought your baby home from the hospital in. I mean, all those things are part of this story that we tell, right?
For sure.
So what was the last, I'm sorry, but what advice would you give people here that are thinking about starting a career in this? What advice do you give?
You want to go first, Madisyn? Oh, she doesn't want to go first. Well, again, you mentioned how it's like a second start or a second career. When Madisyn was born, she had an issue with her. She had brain surgery, but she's obviously brilliant. They turned the switch on in her head. But so I left my full-time job to just do my fun job. I called it at the time, but it's so fulfilling. I mean, we're doing great. I mean, I've been able to hire one employee. I probably am going to be close to hiring another one here, I would think, in the next year or so. But I just feel like, jump into it, and you don't have to know everything. You don't have to do everything. One of my favorite things about the photo managers is just the other vendors and other photo managers that we can reach out to that maybe do something special that I don't want to learn how to do. And we can share that work. And I just feel like that's the connections that we make when we do have conference, virtual or in person. We just meet so many other people that, teach us every day too. So, but I just tell people, I learn something every day. That's why I continue my education and love being part of the photo managers, and just what you offer to us, Cathi, and your team of people. We're learning all the time. Again, technology changes minutely. So
Yeah,
it's trying to keep up with that. And, and again, having Madisyn, the younger generation, to be able to do some of the digital stuff and to know what she knows and continue her education as well. I mean, I just think it's a win-win all the way around for all of us.
One last question for Madisyn before we jump over to Brett and Paige. Madisyn, how many digital photos have you gone through for a client at one time, or overall?
One of our latest had over 1.4 million files, and we've got it down to about 200,000 so far.
Wow.
She's got it down. She's been working on that job for a while, so it's pretty amazing. But again,
and those numbers seem staggering, but they're going to become more common, because nobody is deleting, and nobody is, I mean, people are we're running around with, with a point camera at all times, and screenshots and duplicates, right? And where are the photos we care about? So that's amazing. Those numbers are incredible.
Crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Madisyn and Kristen. And again, if you have questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. And so now we're going to switch over to another family affair. We've got Brett and Paige. So tell us about your business and where you're from, the name of your business, and how you got started.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you, Cathi, for allowing us to participate in this. So we are Gold Star Photo Solutions. We're in Northern California. We serve, I tell people, I serve folks as far away as Reno, Nevada, all the way to the west to like Davis, California. Our oldest daughter actually goes to Davis, UC Davis, and she is one of our employees. So in addition to Paige and myself, We have my older daughter, and then my younger daughter also works. So there's actually 4 of us that are on our website that all participate in the business. And so we cover that whole geographic area because the mindset is we don't want our potential clients to box it up and ship it someplace because there's always that risk. So we consider those areas within driving range, usually about an hour to an hour and a half. If we can drive that far or meet them in between, we will definitely help them with their project. So that's a little bit about us. I started in photography very early age. I did yearbook photography. Then I went into lab management. So the photo lab management, 1 hour photos. I used to manage those back in the late 90s. Then that whole industry kind of evaporated. And so I switched over to quick copy and printing. I worked for Kinko's for 15 years, which then turned into FedEx. And then I kind of shifted into IT, and I'm still technically, I'm an IT manager, and I do that full time. So Gold Star, well, we came up with the idea about 6 years ago. I wanted to say we should come up with a retirement business or a business that we can work on as a family. And so about 6 years ago, we came up with the idea, found a ton of resources on what was called APO, which was the Photo Managers prior to its new name, and really just kind of began to develop the business. Every year we have grown, so that's a beautiful thing. And then just recently, Paige and her contribution, which I'll let her talk, to the business.
Well, my background, I was a professional librarian for many years. So my focus was on research, archival methods, cataloging. I was also a freelance writer, so there's that aspect. So we have complementary skill sets, especially for this business. When we started the business, to be honest with you, the rest of us in the family thought of it as Brett's hobby that makes a little bit of money. And so that's kind of how we looked at it for several years. And then we realized that every year he was making money, and a little bit more each year, even through the COVID quarantine. So we thought, this is actually a business. And so, we had been helping out, and I think at that point we all decided that, this is really a business. What if we actually put time and energy into marketing and doing other things and expanding into Reno and Tahoe and those areas where we were getting some clients, but maybe we can get a lot more. And so I think the end of last year, the beginning of this year, I really came on board full time. So this is my full-time job. And I do operations. Brett does production, I do operations. And then the girls, our oldest daughter does all the social media stuff. She's 20. So she's proficient in social media, and she looks at things in a different way than we do. So it's really helpful to have her on board. And then our youngest is 16, and she does production. When she needs money, she helps out and does production.
And when you say production, let's tell people who are listening that might not know what production means. What does production mean? What is that? What is production?
So what she does predominantly is photo scanning, as well as slide scanning. We have both flatbed scanning as well as camera scanning. So she is very proficient in that production aspect.
Great. And so, yeah, what is it, the services that you offer in your business?
So we really focus on like 6 to 7 core products. Obviously, scanning of memorabilia, photos, negatives, the whole 9 yards there. And then we also do restoration work. We do a lot of media conversion, whether it's film or video or I got reel to reel. It's funny because I collect the old vintage equipment that people will take to Goodwill or you find on eBay, but I like to find stuff locally. So I that kind of feeds my technology to like be able to take a piece of equipment and buy the parts to keep it running for another couple of years, because once the last VCR is dead on this planet, people with VHS tapes are going to kind of be out of luck. So there's kind of a race to take that technology and utilize it before it's all gone. So we do that. we do
Photo books.
we do photo books. Pages
movies.
Pages just started the legacy letters aspect. And then we do celebration of life videos and other celebration type videos. And then what am I missing? I think that's everything.
Sounds like a good mix of what most.
Photo
Oh, do you do digital photo organizing as well?
Hello, I'm sorry.
organizing.
Yeah, there's that digital photo. Yeah, we do digital photo organizing and print photo organizing. And I think to speak to like Madisyn's, I think my largest project has only started out at about 50,000 images. So I'm quite far from the 1.2 was it million? That's incredible.
1.4. Just wait, it's coming.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of duds that you must have gone through or duplicates to
Yeah.
delete. So
For sure.
You know, one thing that too, and in a minute I want to ask about how you get your business and things, but is that they call it the tsunami of stuff right now that's happening in the, you know, every day 10,000 baby boomers now turn 65 every day and will for the next 6 years. And that's not just in the US. I mean, this is certainly in Europe and other Western countries and things. And so it's been moving up like this. And for the next 6 years, it's gonna be like this before it slowly starts to taper off. And that's why these words that we're using, legacy, storytelling, all of that really, the world, people really understand they do have a story to tell. I said my grandparents, they would have never felt like they had, it would have been really hard to get that generation, I think, to tell you much about their lives. But this generation wants to tell that story, and people are hungry for that connection with each other and to pass down to other families. For those of you who are thinking about a career, this really is a golden time to start to get involved in this. And people have not digitized all their photos, and they have not converted all their home media, and they don't want to box it up and send it off to like a 1 hour, you know, a place that you can do that. So that's just a little plug on that, because I've been doing this for 15 years and I'm amazed. I feel like I've always seen it, but I never, you know, but it really feels like now we're really, the wheels are turning, and people don't say, what do you do anymore? They're like, oh my gosh, I need you. So how do you find your clients? You mentioned social media, but you decided to expand your network. How have you done that?
Well, in the early days, I kind of had to figure out Google because you know, you could throw money at Google or other search engines and such, but you have to really focus down to the geographic area that you're going to service. So, for example, I was perfectly content in our geographic area, 60-mile, 80-mile radius, and I decided, well, I'm going to push into a larger metropolitan area, and I got nothing but kind of what I consider dud hits from people. You know, thinking we were something different. And so I had to scale that back because I don't want to throw money at advertisers where it's not effective. But more recently, and Paige will talk to this, we're really relying on now the referrals, because we've started to build up a clientele, you know, grows every year. And we created a referral program to kind of incentivize, what do you know what I'm talking about? New clients who are referred by our existing clients. And so,
Yeah, one of the things I started doing this year was working on a marketing plan. And so we started actually putting out marketing materials like brochures and of course cards. And we started talking to different businesses. One of the things we found that we get a lot of referrals from are Walgreens and Staples.
Yeah, we've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll refer people, you know, if they can't do the job, and we've been getting a lot of referrals from them. We started joining organizations like the Historical Society and the Genealogy Society and attending events. And so the networking aspect there, you know, handing out cards, because once you tell people what you do, they're almost always really interested. And they almost always say, oh, I have something, or my mom has something, or I have a friend who could really use your services. And I think networking really has been one of our top marketing tools that we're using. We're also going to do an ad campaign, a targeted ad campaign too, to some of the retirement communities around here.
yeah, direct mail.
Yeah.
And then we've also started to work on workshops, because we feel there's a huge opportunity to do workshops for, again, those retirement communities or for the library. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's amazing, right? It's so what's your feeling for the future? I mean, I kind of painted what I view it, but do you see do you feel that same momentum kind of building and that kind of
Absolutely. We're getting more clients all the time, and it's funny because I watched one of your videos about demographics and generational demographics, and so I did a little report for us on our demographics, and was really surprised to find that, because we assumed that most of our clients were baby boomers, and it turns out most of our clients are Generation X, millennials. So we were very surprised.
Like that.
Change the way that you market,
Mhm.
to that group. So I'd say the future is looking very good, and we are going to expand into more legacy work because I'm, I think that's what people want. They're talking to us about oral histories, memoir books, with photos and vignettes, and also movies. They want to tell a snapshot of their lives, and they want it, and they want to pass it on to the next generation.
And I think that that whole idea that some people get that, oh well, there's no more video to convert or film to convert or slides to scan. That's not true. There's I'm every year I'm amazed of people. They kind of come out of the woodworks, and unfortunately it's with like a passing of a parent, and oh, I found 15 carousels of slides out in the garage, heavens forbid, instead of the closet inside where you should keep them. And so I'm amazed that it's not like the work has dried up, because the last tape has been digitized or the slide has been scanned. And I've also found that people have come to me for redo work, whether it's a VHS tape that they had converted 30 years ago or 20 years ago when the technology wasn't that great. And so we can convert that, and it looks so much better because film, 8mm, 16mm film holds up really well if it's been stored well. So we're starting to see some work with people saying, hey, I've had these slides scanned, or I've had this media converted, but I want to do it again with better technology for better quality.
Yeah, and that's what's amazing is the way technology is really helping us, not harming us. AI isn't going to take I always tell people think, oh, AI is going to take your business away. No, unfortunately, this is not a business that we have to worry about with AI. It's going to it has enhancement qualities, but it still requires the person to view things and to look at things and stuff. So, and I know you told me briefly a story, both of, like we mentioned though, Kristen and Madisyn, they're in Naples where they are still, I think you said you're still just finishing up your last client from Hurricane Ian, which was 2 years ago. And I know, Brett, you're in the fire zone, right? And I think anywhere we live at this point in the world, we're in some kind of climate potential crisis. I think we used to think it was going to be limited to different places, but it can happen, I think, in any of our neighborhoods at any time. What has that been like in terms of you're in the fire, the fire zone there?
Yeah, I was sharing with Cathi before we took the call live that every spring we get kind of an uptick in calls by people wanting to digitize their collection of memorabilia, whether it's photos, slides, memorabilia, media, because some folks in the mountain communities, they get little to or no notice of evacuation, and when they evacuate, we always say, photographs is one of the things that you would run back into a burning house to collect. And so these people, they've been packing up, they have pack kits of all the essentials or medications, the animals, all that stuff, and their photographs are always part of that. And so they always pack it up in their car ready to evacuate. And I had a client a couple of years ago who delivered to me 11 boxes of photographs, albums, and even framed photographs right from her wall. And she goes, I pack these away every year. I want to go ahead and get them digitized so I don't have to worry about it if anything happens to them. And ironically, literally a week later, she was evacuated from her home due to a wildfire. Wow. That literally kept her out of her home and in a hotel and motels and bouncing around local family for 3 weeks. And the good news is her home was spared. And then we then finished the digitization project, and we were able to give that back to her along with all of her originals. So she had peace of mind knowing that we had her collection, and then further peace of mind knowing that it was digitized and it's resilient in case everything ever happens to those physical originals.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a great story. What advice would you give to people that are listening and thinking of just getting started, and whether they're going to do it by themselves or they want to add a family member or somebody alongside of them?
I think my advice for adding a family member especially is I think what works for us is that we have very specific jobs. And there is some crossover, especially when it comes to design and stuff, but we all know exactly what we're doing. And I think that keeps us from, I don't know, it keeps us getting along better, but yeah, we have very specific skill sets and very specific jobs. And I think that works really well for us. Like I said, Brett is production, I'm operations. The kids know what they do.
Yeah. And I'm very techie, and Paige is very artistic. So, what looks great to me from a design element, we work great together. We're doing that actually for years. When she was a librarian, I would help her with the poster creation for events and stuff like that. And so what looks good to me, I'll share it with her, and she'll kind of, give me that look, and then say, well, why don't you do X, Y, and Z? And I'll go, wow, that looks like 20 times better. So, collaborate in those areas that you both have strengths in, or the family has strengths in, and then obviously fall back on your areas of specialty to be able to focus on those areas.
But you also had advice for somebody who's just getting started.
Oh yeah, if you're just getting started, definitely recognize the areas that you're comfortable with. You can, there's a ton of training with the photo managers and other resources to develop those skill sets and to build on those skill sets, but it takes time. Don't try to offer everything to everyone. Definitely look around your area to see if there's other photo managers or vendors that you could potentially help a client with an area that you're not comfortable with or you're not an expert in yet, and you can funnel that work and refer that work to some of those other vendors.
Yeah, we always say it's like being like, you're like the project manager, kind of like the operations manager, like you mentioned, Pet, in some ways. And I know that many of our members outsource work to other members because they don't want. I know actually my son Joshua has got Madisyn. I think he's doing some of that digital work because he doesn't want to do. He's much more interested in doing the production piece of it and not the digital piece of it. And so that's he's in Connecticut, she's in Naples. It doesn't matter because you can work across country, and the client just needs to have. I always say it's like, think about a house builder, right? When you're a general contractor, you don't think he's going to do the plumbing and put the flooring in and do the electrical work. That they're going to bring in that you just trust. He knows the guy, right? I got a guy. Good. I'm glad you got the guy because I don't have the guy. So it's the same kind of mentality that you want to bring into this business, especially when you're first getting started too. And you may not know what areas that you really enjoy first. You may think, oh, I'm going to love scanning. And then you might start and think, oh, this is the worst job. I hate scanning, And so then you can outsource that and do another piece of it. So I just want to let people have a big picture. All right. I think we've got some great questions. Before we jump to questions, Isabel, if you want to just pop up that slide real quickly. I don't usually do this during our meetings, but we just finished our annual conference in Columbus. It was phenomenal. We have lots of breakout speakers, and this year what we do is what we call a snapshot pass. So this is for members, people that aren't members, or members, anybody actually can do this, but to make it more affordable, we had 20 amazing breakouts. You can choose any breakout that you want for $49, plus attend our keynote speakers. We have 2 amazing keynote speakers, and all our networking where you can hang out, meet other professional photo managers, and meet all our exhibitors. And we had over 18 exhibitors that will offer special discounts, everything from Fuji and photo book companies and scanning companies. And you're able to come to all of that. It starts May 9th through the 11th. And so there's a QR code if you're interested. What we want it's a way for people to put their toe in the water. Maybe there's a topic that or maybe you don't, you look at all those breakouts and you're like, I don't want to learn all that, but I want to learn one thing. So this is our way to give you access for that. So I'll leave, we can take that down now, but I just wanted to let people know. And let's see, what kind of questions do we have, Isabel?
Yeah, so the first question is, and we can start, the question is for both of the speaker groups. So We'll start with Madisyn and Kristen. Can you share just generally, how do you charge for printed photo organizing and digital photo organizing? What is the percentage of your clients that choose those services?
So I think for us, we're probably a little more on the scanning side right now versus the digital. I mean, we encourage that in sometimes doing both at the same time. I may be doing the sorting and scanning, and she may be working on a digital client. But I've learned to estimate over just having some experience. We have a vendor archival method, so we have a box from them that holds about 2,400 pictures. So a lot of times if I do a 1 hour free consultation with clients, and if they choose to have me estimate, I'll just throw some stuff in one of those boxes to get a feel of how many pictures they have. A 1-inch stack is about 100 photos for your estimation purposes. And then we charge mostly by the hour because we can scan 300 to 400 photos an hour. And I'm using regular scanners right now. I have Kodak equipment that's not available anymore. There's Epson fast photos out there that a lot of managers are using. And I just bought at the conference the scanning setup for the camera scanning. So so we mostly just charge by the hour. We charge videos each, and it's just worked out great because it's just easier for us to do it that way versus by the piece. But there's no right or wrong. You just got to kind of practice your own way and time yourself and figure out what works best for you.
And your hourly, if you maybe give a range if you don't want to give a specific, but when you probably charge, what's the average hourly rate for service providers in Naples? Right?
120 to 150 an hour.
Right.
Yep.
All right. So
Brett and Paige.
yeah, I think part of the question was what is your percentage of our clients that need digital or print photo organizing? For us, it's still kind of a smaller percentage. I would say with looking at all of what we offer, probably only about 15 to 20% need digital or print photo organizing. It's definitely an area that we want to grow with. We charge an hourly rate of $75 for that. Pretty much stop the clock for that organizing service. For the scanning, if a customer does need their slides or print scanned, we actually still charge per piece a flat rate to scan those items. But our pricing is on our website, so it's really transparent for folks, and so that allows us to take our time. And so if I have like my youngest daughter scan photographs, she can take her time and do a good job versus, if she's on the clock, she'll want to work, fast. So that per piece rate kind of works for us and works for a lot of our clients. But we are starting to explore to try to develop more package situations or package deals, especially for that client who might have a printed photo collection that they want obviously to be digitized and then organized. We're looking to see how we could develop good packages for them.
And we do that
Just
too. That's how my rate is adjusted by packages. So we do packages too. So we're similar. I like that.
and that last year in our conference last year in Orlando, this year with Kristen and then another guy, they did it was like a race where we remember we did Chris charged per piece and Kristen charged per hour, and at the end they discovered that they were both right on the same numbers pretty much. It's a so I think you can pick your one, but you're probably gonna find that you're gonna be in similar range.
I think I was the true winner. No.
What's that?
I was the true winner of the scanning. I'll have to tell Chris Southard that.
Yeah, I've obviously camera scanning can be really fast, especially for slides. But I've actually done something with flatbed scanners where I've paired two Epson flatbed scanners at one workstation, and we have a button, basically a KVM switch that switches between the two computers that you scan. So you can literally be scanning one scanner of photos. And while that's scanning, you switch over to the other one, place your photos on, scan that one. So you're almost working with literally two hands with two different scanners switching between it.
Ooh, you
And,
might
I
be,
like it.
uh-oh, you might have just opened yourself
uh,
up for a whole new world there.
Yeah.
I wanted to. I'll probably take a picture of it and post it on our Facebook site or your on the photo manager's Facebook site, because we've kind of. It's really a neat. It's you're not waiting. Literally, you're not waiting for a flatbed scanner to
Good.
complete the scan. You're literally you're going to be faster than that.
Yeah, I bet you any photo managers on here are gonna be like, oh, I wanna see a picture of that. That's because speed, time is, from a workflow perspective, as a professional, you really want to maximize your time for your profits and things like that, right? So time is money and,
When we use both a feeder scanner and a flatbed scanner. So I have I'm right-handed. So I have my feeder scanner to the right, my flatbed to the left. So kind of back and forth too. So are you guys using feeder scanners as well, or just flatbeds?
I have had poor luck with feeder scanners and keeping them clean and keeping them happy. I guess maybe our photos are dirtier than maybe in Florida, but a lot.
That's smoke.
I've played with them for a long time. I have a couple of them, and I've just found that yeah, just the quality of a little. I can't keep them as clean as they should be.
Yeah. We
All
clean
right.
them a lot for sure.
Yeah, the next question is, I think, a combination for Cathi, but also for the speakers based on your experience sort of bringing in additional people. But on the photo manager's pro side, and this is actually from a member from our photo manager and training level, do we have any information on scaling up the business, like moving from a solo business to having employees? How much money is coming in and how to pay employees? So do our speakers who sort of have experience on this in terms of bringing in additional people onto their team want to share some feedback there? And before you jump in, we'll also just clarify that we do have training on the professional membership on growing a team.
Well, for myself, with Madisyn and all of her certifications, it was just obviously a perfect time to hire somebody with her skill set, and the school that she went to actually did a sign-on day where they're continuing things like that I refer some of the students at our school still today, because I think out in our workplace and what we're doing, people do need Photoshop, social media help, whatever. So I think for her, just a natural hourly rate above and beyond what the going rate for any other job, I feel like that her value is there for me, so I don't charge my straight up rate. I may, whatever she's working on, I may have a couple hours that I might charge a client then. And sometimes even now I'm giving her a full job to do and just paying her to do that job straight up, whatever the fee is, it just depends what it is.
Yeah, we actually asked our tax preparer. I said, do I want to take my 16-year-old daughter and make her an official employee where she's paying, the IRS and stuff? And he goes, no, because she's under 18, it's best to keep it within the family. You're allowed to do that. And so for her, who does a lot of production, I actually give her a set, I call it a percentage of the cost per scan. So it's piecework. So if she scans, 100 photographs, I charge the client that rate, and then she gets us a percentage of that. So that allows her to kind of work at a nice steady pace, and not necessarily, it's not me behind her saying, hey, faster, faster, faster. It's she has that rate that, she knows if she completes 500 scans within a session, she knows that she's going to get that quantity times the rate that I'm paying her. So it makes it kind of simple.
And I think you speaking on the faster part too, I always say, these people have had their photos in boxes for years. So I really am kind of like, I report to them every couple of weeks and tell them where we're at with the project, but I never feel like we're rushing something because, they've waited. If it's a funeral or a celebration of something I have to do, we'll stop and squeeze that in. But I feel like quality of work and quantity, it kind of goes together, but it's really the quality and the output that we're coming up with and doing this for people that they don't know how to do any of this either. So it just depends.
Yeah, most folks are very, very patient. We'll get an occasional missed job, which, like for a celebration of life or some other weird circumstance where the photos have to be mailed off, or they're in town visiting and they only have, they're only going to be in town for a couple of days. And rush charges are definitely, that's a challenge. We've been, unfortunately, for lack of a better term, burned a couple of times.
Mhm.
Part of it's really explaining the expectations. It's like they're all about speed, speed, speed. And we try to say, well, that speed is going to come at an additional cost. And so it's communication with the client in those rare situations that's so important.
For sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, I think this has been a great conversation. I think we've come to the end of our questions, but this is hopefully for those of you that have been listening, that are thinking about a business, whether you bring on somebody, a friend, a partner, or many members do it solo. But I do think it is a growing business. I did mention my son; he has his own business, Central Connecticut Scanning. I think he's on here, but because I no longer do the business of photo organizing and things, but it's been really fun. We do a mother-son kind of talk thing that we've been doing together, and it's been really, he started out making extra money when he was a teenager, and then went off to college, and then did his own thing until about 18 months ago. And then somebody came to me with 100 slide carousels of slides that they thought I was still doing the business, and I said to Joshua, look, you can make some really good money right now. We should invest in camera scanning, and you should run with this job. And he did, and he hasn't looked back either. And is
Awesome.
quite busy. And so it's been really fun to watch that experience as well, and the same passion that I bring to the table in terms of helping people. So if it's the right fit for the right person, we always, as far as like who should be a photo manager, we always say if they're lifelong learners, you have to be curious about people. I think, you have to have a natural interest in stories and people, because that's what you're going to get from people. Are going to bring you those stories and things like that. And a willingness to try, fail, try again, fail, try again, because the technology keeps changing. I'm intrigued by what you're talking about with that button, Brett. Then we have amazing people like Brett who tell us, oh, I figured out a way to use 2 scanners. I guarantee, like I said, there's people going to want to know, how does he do that? And can you teach me how to do that? So that's the joy of working within a community and association, because it's a lot of really smart people doing a lot of interesting things. And then together, a rising tide, as we say, lifts all boats. So thank you, Madisyn and Kristen. It's always a thrill to see you guys, and Brett and Paige also as well, and all of you who joined us today. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks, Kathy.
Bye, everybody.
You.